Yellowstone National Park is situated on top of one of the world's largest volcanic systems. Yellowstone National Park is situated on top of one of the world's largest volcanic systems, known as the Yellowstone supervolcano. So I recently moved to a typical overpriced US metropolitan city apartment designed for millennials who will probably never be able to afford a home or pay off their student loans from an overly niche degree. Hi, I'm Dr. Flood, a trained ethnomusicologist. And since I'm one of those millennials, instead of switching to a time-proven profitable trade where I'm guaranteed work, I instead turned to YouTube as a last-ditch effort to make a living. So welcome to my beautiful new YouTube home studio. The only issue is the sound here is horrific. See, in that little intro that sounded a lot like an early 30s crisis rant, I was actually trying to explain to you that this room in this apartment, it's very similar to the average spare bedroom a content creator or a musician is likely to turn into a studio. Each of the 4 walls is about 10.5 feet, so it's pretty small, 7.5 feet, so it's pretty short. We have 1 window, 1 door, and wood floors. Now you're probably thinking to yourself that everything sounds totally fine in this video. However, that's because I was talking right into one of the best microphones for isolating sound from a bad environment, the Shure SM7B. The issue is I generally use a boom mic that's out of the frame, so I have more space to gesticulate awkwardly and to show beautiful guitars. Okay, let's get back to the better audio for the most important part of this video. So a big thank you to GIK Acoustics for sponsoring this video and treating my room. Now, as of shooting this part of the video, nothing has been installed, as you can see, and I still don't know if it's going to work. So let's get some before and after sound tests starting now. Yellowstone National Park is situated on top of one of the world's largest volcanic systems, known as the Yellowstone supervolcano. So whenever musicians make YouTube videos, we always say things like, I really hope you can hear the difference because YouTube compresses the audio and then you listen on your smartphone with crappy speakers and blah, blah, blah. But in this case, I'm not even worried. I know for a fact you can hear the huge difference in this room. Remember, I'm using my boom mic. Sounds pretty good, right? Here's a quick reminder of what it sounded like before. Now, in addition to doing talking head videos with a boom mic off camera like I'm doing right now, and before someone says that I now have this guitar rack in the back of the room with all of these guitars, and having them in the room is going to change the acoustics of the room dramatically. I had the same guitars and the same rack in the room before. They were just in that corner off camera. All the furniture is exactly the same here. Well, the chair is different, but that's literally the only difference in this room right now. Now I'm going to give you a tour of the room in a second, but first I wanted to quickly tell you why I went with GIK Acoustics. First, once you get into the sound treatment sphere, you'll quickly see that GIK Acoustics is one of the industry standards. So you know you're going to get quality stuff that should last a lifetime. When I can afford a house, maybe one day in the future, this is all coming with me. The next important thing for me was the fact that GIK is big on education. They have a ton of different articles on their site and you can nerd out about the science of sound treatment. But I'll be honest, I already have to nerd out on a ton of other stuff like being the best guitar teacher possible. My personalized guitar program is linked below. So if you just want the job done for you without doing any research, GIK will talk to you one-on-one and design a room treatment for your specific needs. And they do that totally free. And I even checked this with one of my subscribers, shout out to Marcos. He doesn't have a YouTube channel or some big social following, but they were just as nice to him as they were to me, so I trust GIK. I also did a whole podcast with GIK on the science of sound treatment and the process of designing my room. I'll link it below if you're interested. And the final reason I went with GIK is because they have really, really cool looking panels. If you're going to have all of your walls and ceilings covered with stuff, it might as well look dope. Now, the one issue is that I still live in the middle of a big city, so throughout the day, there are fire trucks, dogs barking, etc. And of course, that outside noise can still come into the room. My solution for those situations is the RX11 plugin by iZotope and Native Instruments. So for example, sometimes you're working on a video and you have to deal with city noise like this annoying ambulance behind me. So for example, sometimes you're working on a video and you have to deal with city noise like this annoying ambulance behind me. When you combine the treatment by GIK and the ability to fix any audio that gets ruined by outside noises, you basically have the perfect music studio. Now, RX11 also does a great job of making a horrible room sound passable. So for example, if acoustic treatment isn't in your budget, or if you don't care about how the room actually sounds to you, and you just want the final product to sound good on YouTube or wherever, the RX11 is also a viable solution there. Yellowstone Hot Springs. Beneath the natural magnificence of Yellowstone National Park lies a wet and lethal body trap. Yellowstone Hot Springs. Beneath the natural magnificence of Yellowstone National Park lies a wet and lethal body trap. So now I'll give you a quick tour of the room with the exact pieces on screen, just in case you want to check them out. But I can't stress this enough, design your own room in conversation with GIK themselves, because every room is different. Of course, room treatment is going to be expensive, and we have a few different options here as well. You can use some of their pre-organized treatment sets, or you can buy a couple of pieces over the years until you one day have the room of your dreams. The last question I wanted to discuss is cost. Is this all worth it? If you're starting off making videos online and you have no budget, use your cell phone camera, get one of those $20 Bluetooth mics, and you'll be fine. If you're just starting to record music, get an SM57, a one-channel interface, a pair of decent headphones, and that will work for a very, very long time for you, maybe forever. But if you eventually decide to invest in your production, it's very important that you look carefully at what investments are going to be most helpful, and here's why. When it comes to making YouTube videos, everyone loves to focus on buying expensive camera gear first and audio second. But the truth is, audio is actually much more important than video. If someone clicks on your video and you're in this perfect 4K resolution, but they can't hear you clearly, they are going to click away immediately. If someone clicks on your video and you're in this perfect 4K resolution, but they can't hear you clearly, they are going to click away immediately. But the same person would stay for the whole video if your audio was clear and your video was a little bit weird. We usually just assume that weird video is some type of artistic choice. No one cares about your camera quality. No one cares. This is why you can watch a 480p movie from the 1960s and enjoy it. But a modern Christopher Nolan movie like Tenet drives you crazy. Audio is most important. Now, the next mistake we make is thinking to get great audio, we just need to spend a ton of money on a great microphone. But if you have a super expensive microphone in a crap room, it will sound like crap. How do I know? Well, this whole time I've been recording with a Sennheiser 416, a microphone that Christopher Nolan has used on movie sets. It sounds great now, but remember what it sounded like when the room was crappy. Turning in the empty, cold blackness of space. And just to really drive home the point, I just switched my microphones and now I'm using a different mic that cost about 1/10 of the price of the Sennheiser 416, and you probably can't hear much of a difference. Why? Well, because the room is now great. So to summarize, when you can afford to improve your production, if your mic is around the $100 to $200 range, the mic probably is not the issue. If you have a cell phone camera that was made within the last 5 years, the camera quality is probably not the issue. Save your money, put some of it in a good index fund for your future, and spend some on acoustic treatment that fits your budget. Of course, I recommend GIK Acoustics. Big thank you to them for sponsoring this video.